This is the Practical Tactical Podcast.
Welcome to the Practical Tactical Podcast. This is Justin. Today, Casey's not with us, but that's all right because he's a 380 hater anyways. But he would probably not be surprised to see what the outcome is today. The LCP is a total failure. Okay, I'm oversimplifying it. It probably failed because of what I did to it. But before we get into that, thanks for joining us today. If you're just listening to us, I'd really encourage you to shoot over to either our Facebook or YouTube and actually watch the video version of this. We're going to have lots of video, pictures, and other stuff that'll make things probably make a little more sense if you're seeing what I'm talking about. But I'll try to adequately describe it without boring the video listeners, or video watchers, that is, to death. All right, first off, we're going to talk about the LCP today, the Ruger LCP, which is in 380. I'm not going to beat up on them too much. I understand it is a compromise, but folks, the 380 is at the bottom of what I consider acceptable. It's really a little bit below. It's harder to find ammunition for it that actually performs consistently in standards like FBI ballistic gel standards versus penetration expansion, balancing out that so it doesn't do one or the other, or not at either very well. But before we go a little more into the ammo, let's talk about the LCP for those that are not maybe all that familiar with it. LCP is a small 380 pistol. It's six in the magazine and one in the chamber, so 6+1. Has lots of accessories that come with it, lots of different lasers and lights that are available. And as far as I'm concerned, as you can see here from Arms Post, it's one of the smallest and best 380s, I think, going out there because of its size. Almost all these that are in this comparison or in this category are all 6 to 7+1, and yet they all launch the same bullet, and it's one of the smallest. It's smooth, rounded, no sharp edges. It is perfect to slide into a pocket. Now, with a holster, mind you, not just with anything in there, but a pocket holster to keep that oriented properly and protect that trigger guard. It is excellent for that. But as we get back to the ammunition thing, 380 is a kind of a marginal, barely adequate caliber as far as I'm concerned. If you'll recall back to one of our other shows, we had the guy that's shooting the bull. He has a YouTube channel and a blog, and he did what he called the ammo quest, a 380 ammo quest, and I highly recommend it. There's going to be a link down in the show notes and down here in the description where you can go and watch this. If you're going to carry 380, you need to find ammunition that performs for it. I think you're making a mistake if you just say, well, I'm carrying full metal jackets. Yeah, you're going to lose a little bit of the energy you have. You're going to lose it because it's going to go straight through and over-penetrate, versus buying something off the shelf that says it's the elephant-killing, super-expanding 380 bullet, and turns out it expands so much it only penetrates a few inches. There are some good, consistent performers out there, but you got to be careful and you got to do your homework, and I think this should be your first stop, shooting the bull. Kind of a little spoiler for there. I think one of their best performers is Lehigh XP Xtreme Penetrator. As you can see here, it's basically a solid copper bullet that's cut and on four sides, and it creates kind of an X. And it tends to go through. It gets good penetration, and it also has a effect in the gelatin to cause a temporal and larger permanent wound cavity, kind of like a hollow point. It's a good compromise. However, I can't get them to run in LCPs. I've had two different LCPs. I cannot get the Lehigh to run in my LCPs for whatever reason. So I've had different malfunctions, but primarily failure to feeds, because I think it's the blunt end of the bullet. So my solution has been to kind of do what Jim Cirillo? Yeah. He was in the Stakeout squad back in the day. He would use wad cutters, and he obviously those won't cycle through their semi-automatic guns. I think it was 1911s. So he put the first round in there as a wad cutter, and the subsequent rounds would be full metal jacket or rounded nosed bullets. So I do kind of the same solution. The first round is the Lehigh Xtreme Penetrator, followed up with either typically Core Bond EPX or one of the XTP bullets, both of which are pretty consistent performers, especially the XTPs. They perform very well, and if you watch the Ammo Quest and read his blog on it, almost all the XTP bullets performed very well from different manufacturers. However, I personally like the all copper bullets. They tend to have a little softer shooting. I can shoot them a little quicker, and they're not quite as snappy. Some of the XTP loadings are a little heavier, and they can be a little snappy. Nothing uncomfortable or painful. It's just personal preference, and it depends on what's in stock and what I can get a hold of when I shoot up what I carry. So, let's move on to the torture test. All right. Here you have me in tactical lawn care apparel. But seriously, just firing a few rounds here, missing one, unfortunately. Firing a few rounds here just to show the gun does work. Just pull it out of the pocket, didn't do anything to it. And just a quick function check. Okay, first off, we just got some dry dirt. Nothing special. It's kind of sandy, topsoil kind of stuff, so it's actually pretty fine. But not much moisture, just a little stirred up dirt. So we'll start there. Once I got it good and buried, give it a little few taps. Pulled it out, make sure there's no barrel obstructions, and walked over to the range. First round, no problem, bunch of dirt flying around. Second round, I had a failure to feed. Basically, tap the rear of the slide, send it home, and then I was able to fire 3 or 4 more rounds with no issues. So I went back, topped off the magazine, and decided to step it up and add water. Now, this is where things are about to take a drastic turn. As you can see here, I do a pretty thorough job, too thorough, of working the mud and muddy water into the action, which this is also pretty sandy soil as well. So, go over here to test fire and click. Doesn't work. The channel there where the hammer, for lack of a better term, is all gummed up with mud and slows down the striker. So now starts the process of trying to fix the malfunction. I was not able to really get anywhere with it. It was just so mucked up with mud and sand and water. So I walked over to the sprinkler and gave it a little bath. After that, I was able to go back over after dropping the camera 3 or 4 times and get it to work. Unfortunately, it would not function properly. Most of the time, it would failure to fully feed. I'd have to basically give the slide a bump or push it with my thumb, and then I'd be able to get the round out of it. But after I gave it a good little shower, it continued to function pretty good. However, I had about one failure to extract at the end, and due to the slide lock, for some reason, really early on, the slide lock jammed up. It would not come up, which made it rather hard to clear the malfunction, not be able to lock the slide back and hold a camera and everything else, and it being completely muddy and soaked in water. So I kind of gave up on that because I slammed an empty case and jammed it up pretty good. Decided to go inside, give it a bath, and see if we can continue on. After a good washing and not really soaking, but just letting it all run through the body, I was able to load up some more rounds, go back outside, and once again, it basically functioned. A few failure to feed, just a little shy of completely chambering, but a tap on the back of the slide, and it would fire just fine. Once again, sorry I'm trying to juggle a camera and look down the sights and show the gun and try to hit the target because, well, embarrassed to have that, not hear that still ringing. But so I decided, hey, let's go back and get it dirty again, see what happens. Another trip to my sandy fine topsoil. Got a little dirt in there. Make sure the chamber wasn't obstructed and went back to shoot it. Once again, same thing. Failure to feed. Started to have some stovepipes towards the end that were kind of problematic. But basically, once it got the small particles in it, especially the sand, it was really having a rough time. The action was very rough, very grimy, everything about it, the trigger, the action. And like I said before, the slide stop wouldn't even budge. Even when I took it back in and washed it and soaked it and took it apart, I could barely, I don't even think I can get the slide stop to move then. I had to completely disassemble it. And as you take it apart, you see that metal body in the middle. It's a constant rail and interfacing with the slide. So there's a lot of places for grime to get in there and inhibit the functioning of the weapon. So unlike a Glock or M&P, maybe even XD that tend to have short rails sections that slide in the upper receiver, which leaves a lot of room for grime to fall out. This has a pretty, for the size of the gun, almost all of it is sliding on a continuous rail. So it's a lot of places for grime to build up. So obviously I ended up having to completely disassemble it and get the water out of it and oil it and clean it to get all the little particulates out. Now, one thing to be careful about is the pins, the polymer pins, not the takedown pin, but the frame pins. They're very easy to break. I broke both of mine. I didn't have quite a tall enough area to punch out, to drive them out with a punch. The first one, I grabbed a hold of it just with some pliers I had there and just pulled on it and broke off. So I thought, ooh, a little too harsh with it. The next one, same thing, but I just literally pulled straight on it with my hand, my fingers, and it broke off. So the good news is they're only like $1 or $1.02 for two of them. Of course, the shipping was $5 or $6, but I went ahead and ordered a aluminum trigger for it, And so I'm going to go ahead and do the upgrade since I already have it in pieces. That is if I can get it back together, because I'm no gunsmith, but hopefully I can. I'm going to post some stuff down there in the show notes and in the description. It'll have some links to some disassembly instructions, some other videos over there. I'm not going to bore you with it. I'm not that good at it. I don't take this gun apart that often or that far. But I will give you some links to help you out if you have to do this or just want to do this. So, what did we learn? What did I learn? I learned that this gun is obviously not a Glock. You're not going to be able to drag it behind a truck and bury it and, all these kind of crazy nonsense. It will rust rather quickly, and it's not really tolerant to small, gritty, sandy grime getting in the action. However, up until the point that I washed all that small particulates into the gun, it really didn't seem to mind it too bad. At the most, I had some failure to feeds and slowing down the slide a little bit, which were easily remedied. And up until the point, like I said, that I got it wet and introduced all those particulates, that I started to have a lot of problems. But even after that, washing it out, I was able to get the gun to function almost as well as when it was dry. But like I said, I wouldn't recommend trying this on your gun, and I wouldn't recommend exposing your gun to this kind of abuse. It's really not designed to take it. But I do feel comfortable that carrying this gun in my pocket, no more than I'm going to expose it to a little bit of moisture, some pocket lint, and maybe a little bit of dirt, I don't think it's going to give me much problems. Even in that scenario, burying it twice, and I was able to make the gun function pretty quickly, just with it assisting the slide a little bit. So I think I'm impressed. I hoped it would do a little bit better, but with those full-length slides, it's a lot of friction when you get the stuff built in, especially small grime built into it. So anyways, let us know what you think. Send your comments, emails. If you have some suggestions, ideas, I'm wide open to it. Of course, after I get it reassembled and the parts fixed and replaced and upgraded, I'll do another video showing you what it's all about. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to let us know. Show suggestions, let us know. Amanda's working on her material. She's going to be doing some reviews and some videos and stuff for the ladies, and also some new shooters and stuff like that. And hopefully we get some more material out there to you. We've been extremely busy with our jobs, and it's just fighting an uphill battle, it seems like, every day to get our jobs done and our own little projects here to even step over into the practical tactical to-do list. But thanks for listening and watching if you did. And like, share, and subscribe. We really appreciate that. Until the next time, take care.